Hi, I'm Mustafa. I'm one of the co-founders of Pit to Table. We take discarded olive pits from olive oil manufacturing and turn them into beautiful interior surfaces. I grew up in Cyprus, where making olive oil is part of our upbringing, if you like, part of everyday life. And I remember visiting the olive mills and seeing mountains of pits and pomace outside the factories. And years later, working as an interior designer in London, I saw this rising demand for sustainable surfaces in interiors. And that's when it really clicked. Why can't we use this organic waste from Cyprus and go global with it and use it in the construction industry? We take olive pits from North and South Cyprus, from farmers across the divide, and process them all in our workshop here in Nicosia. So what we do is we clean the pits and then grind them, then separate them using some of the machinery behind me, and then we mix it with a bioresin that we source locally, and then press it and then turn it into panels. In interior design, not only in London, but also globally, there's a growing demand for sustainable materials. People are after different aesthetics, but also knowing where the source of their products come from. So there are products like tabletops made from recycled plastics, or wood offcuts, or coffee grounds. So there's already a demand in the market. So we knew that we had to target the interior designers, furniture makers, and the contractors in this field. So the construction industry contributes to the world carbon emissions by 40%, which is a colossal number. So that was our number one problem. And number two was addressing the problem here in Cyprus, which is agricultural waste. So each harvest season, Cyprus produces in total about 24,000 tons of olive oil waste. So we are addressing both of those issues basically by taking the waste and turning them into panels that are available in the construction industry globally.
I'm Yağmur. I'm one of the co-founders of Pit to Table. My role at Pit to Table is essentially, as well as everything, as we all do, strategy and execution is more business side of things. So that's essentially me. The very first step was not to jump into the idea, but to test the idea. We reached out to some key designers in the London design sector and test the appetite for such a sustainable product to see if there's a market demand for it, and if we were to produce it, would the designers use it? Then at the same time, I did some macro level analysis on the market, construction sustainable materials market, to understand where we would actually fit in and whether there was an actual business case for it. Our entry point was always going to be the London workplace sector because of Musa's experience in the industry and the knowledge of the industry. So that was always clear. So once we did the market analysis and the market test, we were convinced there was an actual business case with this. So we focused on identifying key resources in developing the MVP, and that's where my actual family background came in. So this used to be my family's furniture manufacturing company. So we reached out to some of those network to help us identify how we can actually build the idea with off-the-shelf binders. So we quickly put together what you see around with an off-the-shelf product, and we tested it with, again, furniture makers to see if it's actually fit for purpose. With the help of local furniture makers, we created the first prototype, and then that allowed us to test the usability and the feasibility of the product. So once that was successful, we knew we had something real. So that's when we moved into the dedicated R&D phase and started our search for sustainable binders. Our strategy and mission defined exactly what our minimum viable product had to be. Our goal is to make the construction industry more sustainable. So I knew we had to create an alternative that could truly compete with unsustainable options already on the market. That meant our product couldn't just be better for the planet, but it also had to be aesthetically pleasing, have better lead times, competitively priced. So following that objective, I knew we had to create something that was simple drop-in alternative to the market. So the first thing we did was to focus on the properties of most widely used products on the market, such as the size and dimension, and that was our essential starting point. Because no one has ever done this before, we ended up having to develop purpose-built machinery, which you're seeing in the factory. So we couldn't, just use existing machinery, as it wouldn't be able to handle the unique properties of olive pits and our specific production process. So the machinery is crucial to producing boards efficiently and to a consistent standard. So I've been working with a machinery manufacturing company to develop the machine we need. So once those key functional elements were in place, the next step was to design the range. Our initial idea was to launch with just one product of the natural pit color. However, when I went testing the machinery, something went wrong and the machine burnt the pits. And the black color pits came out. So I brought those back to show it to my partners. And then we ended up using it during testing because we don't waste. And once we used them for a test, the charcoal color came out. So we were like, okay, this looks really nice actually. So that's when we ended up going to market with 3 colors instead of just one, the natural. So we went with charcoal, soft white, and natural. That's how essentially the first product range and MVP came out. Of course, there were plenty of failures. Once we moved into testing sustainable binders, we had a lot of setbacks where we had to make quick decisions, replan, resource new materials, and retest essentially. But our main failures were in the partner selection, unfortunately. We picked some partners that weren't quite right for us during the R&D phase, and it cost us money and time, 2 things we couldn't be really generous with, to be honest. And as a team, we sat down and created new guidelines for our partner selection process. Our entire ecosystem and supply chain are vital for our mission, and we need like-minded people to work with that believes in our mission, to be honest, and reflect our values. That's really important for us. So that was one of the most critical pivots in our process. It was risky, but it's been fruitful ever since. Since we are in an agile innovation process, we are always learning from our tests, iterations, and sometimes after those tests, the results require pivot. So that's the nature of our business. The key is to test with our market after each iteration. So before we decide on a huge move or something fundamental, we always test it with the market, and not only the designers, but everyone in the value chain. So designers for aesthetics, for instance, but then we go to furnitures for usability. So it's quite important before we make those pivots to validate it with our ecosystem, let's say. Our product development has been a key driver essentially for pivoting. For instance, we started our strategy and as our target market being the workplace, interior workplace design. However, once we had our mechanical tests and we understood the performance of our product, for us, before every pivot, product-wise or process-wise, it's quite important for us to test. Given my background in innovation consulting, the agile innovation process is essentially my day job. So that was definitely huge help, if I'm being honest, as we are able to stay true to our MVP plan and we hit every milestone right on schedule. And as a team, we are really good at sticking to our strategy and plan. The key is having a realistic timeline and understanding, your process, how much time everything requires, and also building a contingency for your plan B and C if you can't hit your initial timelines, because also this is an innovation process and we don't know what's going to happen. So there's a definite learning curve to it, but by being prepared for the inevitable setbacks, we were able to keep moving forward without getting derailed and deliver on time.
I'm Burak, one of the co-founders of Pit to Table. I look after the manufacturing and the R&D currently. This year we attended Clark Design Week and London Design Festival in London. We collaborated with few brands such as Vitra, Bolon, and also Tom Dixon, and we showcased our product in the exhibitions, and that was the first time when the Pit board met with the designers. Sustainability was on top of our priority when we were looking at the options, and we eliminated the unsustainable options in first instance, so we didn't really see that as a challenge to resolve. And cost-wise, it's still challenging, but we hope that as the industry adopt the sustainability as their go-to solution, we hope that the commercialized products will reduce in their price, and that will potentially reduce our cost as well. We are sustainable. We don't use wood, let's say, to manufacture something. It comes from waste, and it has a natural feel, and it's quite unique.
The roots of our company were really seeded with the UN Youth Innovation Factory competition, which was made possible by the Social Tech Lab. And we are currently being actively incubated by Net Growth Program. So far, we've raised around 80,000 euros through all these funding programs, and mostly been made possible by Social Tech Lab, to be honest. So big grants have been essentially vital for our company, and we are constantly looking for funds. If I'm being honest, accessing funding has been a constant challenge. We are a self-funded company and we are always in search for funding. It is not easy. There's no exact science or single answer I can give you. All I can say is that you have to keep searching, you have to keep building collaborations, you have to keep applying, and you have to keep building your network, and you have to believe in what you do and be relentless at it, to be honest. It's an exhausting process, but you have to be relentlessly resilient and just keep applying, networking. We've been longlisted for the Zine Award, which is a very well recognized and respected competition in the industry. Mixed Interiors Awards, Surface Design Awards, and there are a few more that's escaping me right now, but we've been in a very short period of time since launch in May. I think we've been nominated for minimum 5 industry awards that are well respected in the industry. The co-founders, not only me, but Mos and I, have been individually been shortlisted for some innovation awards in UK. Well, I wish I could tell you there was a brilliant plan from the beginning, but honestly, it's all been very organic. So Mos, one of the co-founders, is one of my best friends, and we used to live together in London. And he had this idea for a while, which I thought was brilliant. So we've seen this Youth Innovation Factory funding opportunity, and we wanted to apply, but we realized there was a third person required to qualify for the team. And that's when I thought of Burak, actually, because Burak is another friend of mine that from childhood, and we dive together as well. So one day post-dive, I mentioned the idea to Burak, because also he just moved back from London and I know he was looking for something meaningful to do. He's an engineer by background and worked on lots of sustainability projects. So I thought it would be a good idea and I mentioned it to him and he was keen, and then we entered the competition and won, and since then the rest is history. So Bora brings like the engineering technical background, Mos brings obviously the creative and design side of things, and I bring the strategy, execution, business side of things. It all happened very organically, but most importantly, we all share the same values about caring the planet and wanting to do something meaningful. The only advice I can give, find people who are on the same page with you, I guess.
Initially, we wanted our product to be used in real work environment, so we made a coffee table for a tech company in North, and this table is still in use, and we received good feedback from the company. And also, we've been to a few exhibitions in London, and that was the first opportunity for the designers come and see our product and touch and feel it. And this is how we did it basically. They placed in a way that you can see the table from the entrance and from the reception, and when people are waiting from the seating area, it's a kind of a conversation starter to them, and people touch and feel and they start to question the story behind it, and they gave us good feedback on this. Their reaction was quite surprising. We were not anticipating that much of a reaction when they first see it, because they thought that was cork. But then when we encouraged people to touch it and feel it, and then after following up with the story, they were like quite amazed with it. And the second one was the color options. We asked them the color options because we were thinking like extreme colors, and then we decided internally maybe just to keep it simple, like 3 ranges initially, so not to distract too much. And some of the designers said less is more, so that was valuable to us. And then we paused on that option for now, and that made us to focus on other things. Our product is still in use in office environment, and since then we have never received a bad feedback about it. Once our product was ready, we engaged with the carpenters to see how to cut it, how to drill it, and we received feedback from them. Let's say you can't just direct screw onto it, you need to have like pre-drilled holes, or we need to use like diamond blades just to cut, to have like clean cut. So we define all the requirements with them as a result, and also we engaged with the designers. They had the opportunity to touch and feel the product. However, as a feedback, they followed up with the questions, requesting for certifications, etc., to prove that the material that we make is actual sourced and it's real sustainable product, and they need the proof of it. So then that pushed us to get in touch with the certification process, and we started that process.
Our product Pitboard sits at the core of the NEB values. So from a sustainability perspective, like we've been saying, it's taking agricultural waste and turning it into something usable. From aesthetics perspective, it's a very natural finish, quite a unique aesthetic. We've taken it to designers around the world, and they've also mentioned there's nothing like it. And from a social impact perspective, supporting farmers across the divide equally is super important for us, and we'll also keep supporting other practices like creative agents or I guess delivery people across the divide as well, so that we're supporting always equally without any bias. For me, the biggest success we've had to date was when we pre-launched Pitboard during Clerkenwell Design Week in London in May. And we had thousands of people come in and see the product, touch and feel it. And that was a very proud moment because we received overwhelmingly good feedback. Top design practice in London said it was the highlight for their design week, and I really take pride in that. There were loads of challenges along the way, from sourcing the right machinery, sourcing the right binding agent, which took us months of research and development. But I think one of the most memorable challenges for us was to take it from initially this size to 2 meters by 1 meter. And that took a lot of blood, sweat and tears, and a lot of failures along the way, and we got there in the end, so we're happy with that. The advice I would give to entrepreneurs looking to build NEB-aligned solutions is persistence is key. It will take time, so you just need to persevere with it. And we hope that Pitboard really inspires people to create materials for the construction industry, because we don't mind a bit of friendly competition, and we really hope that there will be other waste products created in the future for our sector. Well, we hope that people can see waste can be a valuable source. We want to spark curiosity. We want people to develop products from waste, and the construction industry heavily relies on high impact, mass produced materials. So we want to change that and replace it with products that have stories to tell. We want to take Pitboard globally. We want it to reach every corner on the planet and spark curiosity and develop new products off the back of that, that are made from waste and influence the construction industry in a positive manner.